Yes. The other day in the papers, they showcased that there are many people who went into shares during the IPOs.
Yes, I remember.
And all those accounts, a good number of them, in millions, actually went dormant. Why? Because guys went into shares and they didn't understand. They were just in the hype of the IPOs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now that's where risk appetite comes in. You went in, bought this particular account, and let me not mention. Yes. You bought in at maybe 5 bob, and then you thought that the day the bell rings, and now we start trading. Now it is us on the journey towards wealth. You know?
Yes.
You know what happened?
Yes.
That morning when things opened,
when the bell rang,
he started trading at lower.
What?
So guess what the risk appetite means now. If your risk appetite is such that you can't tolerate that, what happens? Definitely you sink into panic. And by then it stayed at that lower than the buying price for quite some time. And I know so many people actually went into stress. People had borrowed monies to push into those IPOs and the like. And it was stressful. So one needs to understand when you're going into a particular space, do you appreciate that this thing can go up, can go down? Do you appreciate, by the way, that you understand the risk profile of this asset class that you are going in?
It's important to know all those factors because you before you dive into a particular investment. And the same happens to any investment actually, not just I think not just in that because the different investments have different risks involved. So before I get now in a wider way, looking at it, investments now in a wider scope, what are some of the things I should look out for before I venture into this, the same?
Awesome. And I know you're asking that on behalf of many.
There are so many.
For sure.
Who have found themselves very gullible. And it's unfortunate that at times, even as Christians, we actually are most of the time victims. And it's also sad that the same platform of faith has also been used to try and push some of these things.
True.
If you look back, some pyramids schemes have come, and it is servants and Christians, servants of God, who have actually been the ambassadors of some of these things, you know. Which actually now points us to the fact that what we are discussing today will help somebody out there.
Definitely.
For sure.
And that's what we want to pass across. Now, when you look at all investments and the like, even wealth itself, there's something that is very, very powerful, which is around affiliation. Affiliation. Today I can come and talk to you about investments, blah, 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 and we use many slides, many presentations and the like. And you'll just summarize it as Kizungu Mingi. But someone else will come and they'll only use 2 slides. One slide with the George in slippers, looking beaten. The definition of struggle. You know?
If struggle was a person,
that's the picture that is portrayed. Then the slide that follows is George leaning on a Range Rover and saying, this could be you in 6 months. What will you do? You'll find yourself borrowing. Because that is affiliation. It's magnetic. You are there. You feel like, wow, that is where I want to be. So today, as we share this, one of the things we want to help people is how do we equip them to be able to avoid these pitfalls tomorrow when something comes around. Because pyramid schemes, all they do is go back to the dressing room, dress again in a different style,
That's
and come
true.
out. You know?
Very true.
Same thing.
Yes.
Just going around. Oh, today it's in a suit. Tomorrow it comes in a dress. Tomorrow, you know. And you now feel like you are somewhere and you're doing other things that are very, very crazy. People don't talk. And you know, you challenge people. Those who are bold. Tell us if you're a quail farmer.
Quail farmer.
Quail farming, I was there. I was there.
You were also there. Oh, my uncle also.
It's true. I want to give you something. This is a tool that everybody can actually use.
Yes.
It's called the space model. And why? It's because the space where you save matters, or the space where you invest matters. So if space is an acronym, then I would want to break it down now. Yes, starting with the S. Yes. Today I've given you 2 acronyms.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wiser.
Makes
Yeah.
it memorable, yeah.
Yeah, space.
Space.
Yes.
Yes.
The space where you invest really, really matters. And these are some of the things that we are very vocal about, even for us at Kuza. We talk about it quite often, even on the platforms and the like, and tell people that if space matters, then S there is safety. You see?
Safety.
And
Safety.
there is no safety that anyone can promise you unless it is anchored on regulation. Yes, even marriage.
Yes.
You'll be like, hey, where are we signing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Because this document
Yeah.
Yes.
it will be respected somewhere at the AG's office. You
It's
see?
true.
So you're looking at engaging even in business and the like, you want a contract signed. Engaging with an entity, you want to confirm that this entity is legit.
Yep.
You see?
Yep.
So if you are discussing investments, the regulator for our investment space in Kenya here is Capital Markets Authority. You see?
Yeah.
So if an entity comes in and wants to showcase that they can do this or do that for you, you must check first of all whether they are licensed and regulated by Capital Markets Authority. Yes, that is where it all begins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then once you have confirmed that, then you go to the P, which is the product.
Product.
The
Yeah.
product also must be regulated by the Capital Markets Authority if we are discussing investments.
Yeah.
And we have different regulators. Yeah? We
Yeah.
have Capital Markets Authority for investments. We have Retirement Benefits Authority for retirement
Yeah,
solutions.
yeah.
We have Insurance Regulatory Authority for
Yeah,
insurance
the
products and the
insurance,
like. We have anyone who wants to do anything banking is Central Bank of Kenya. So all these, you must always know this thing that someone is telling me about. Yeah, the other few weeks or months ago, I think we had a case in Eldoret. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why would people give money to an individual?
Yeah.
If you're using the space model, number one, first of all, you'd have said this one doesn't tick the box
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as George, I'll tell you, I have challenges even with things like bitcoins because I'm unable to tick that box
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
most of them.
Yeah.
And many
Yeah.
things that people do out here, especially the young guys, they're so, I would say, agile, such that they want to explore every space,
Yeah.
which is a good thing. But at the end of the day, space matters.
True.
Products also, is it regulated?
Regulated. Yeah.
So that is very, very
Yeah.
important. There are entities that can come. The entity itself is licensed and regulated, but the product they are getting into is not.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Yes, that
the
I don't want to
product,
mention
yeah, the
names.
product is not regulated.
Yes, the product is not regulated,
Yeah.
but the entity is. So you may go in thinking you're investing
Yeah.
in an entity that is known, but at the end of the day, the product itself that you're being taken into
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
not regulated. So that's the other thing that one needs to check and check carefully.
Yeah.
But when you're going in there, the entity is regulated,
Yeah.
the product is also
It should be regulated as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then the third thing there is A.
Yes.
The space model, which is access. As you ask
Access.
yourself, how fast can I be able to get my money back? You see?
Yeah.
So that speaks to the horizon conversation we talked about.
Yeah.
Because if I have money I will need in 3 months, I would be a fool to take it into a plot.
Yes.
Because these plots here appreciate.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Things like those ones. So you need to know how fast can I get my money back? How fast can I convert my money back into liquidity? You see?
Ah,
That is
okay.
very, very important. That is A.
Yeah.
Then C is the costs of the charges. Exactly. If your bank account, for example, which is today, your bank account charges you 200 bob, and you put 1,000 shillings in January, and you come back in June, because now you need it back.
Yeah.
Will you find it?
We'll be actually
Way
negative.
gone.
You'll be negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So the cost in that platform also you also need to be aware of.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And then after the cost, then the E, which is the earning. The earning now is where some people now look at it, that ladder, they invert it and they start with the earning.
Yes.
And that's where they fall. By the time you are
That's
crying, you know, we call it machozi.
Yeah.
By the time you are crying, that's the
Yeah.
time you are asking yourself, oh, yes, this thing was not...
Safe.
It's not safe. It was not regulated.
Yeah,
We used
yeah.
the whole thing.
Oh my.
Inverted.
Yeah.
Yes.
It started with the
Yeah,
earning.
the earning.
So the earning there is what will I get out of this? And it can be in terms of capital appreciation, it can be in terms of maybe interest income, it can be in terms of dividend, it can be in terms of rental income. There are so many other different channels of having this earning flow back towards you.
Yeah.
So that is the space model.
Wow, and that model is so practical and so profound, easy to remember also, because I remember that the other one was wiser. So I love this acronym thing. It makes sure we are keeping track. But you know, Gigi had mentioned people who are bold. I won't lie. For me, when I was young and naive back in the days,
And ambitious.
very ambitious and hustling
Yes.
my way around, you know, university, you're there, you're trying to earn a coin. And definitely, you know, we got introduced to some pyramid schemes, as they would call it. And this one in particular, it seemed very simple. You know, everything, how you can earn, just seemed very simple. But now there was the catch of making sure that you're bringing more people and more people. And some people would even have various accounts. So you find that there's a bronze, there's the gold, there's the silver. So it's like you're going up the ladder. But then as you go higher, there's that money that you have to invest. Actually, as you have mentioned, there's the earnings, then there's the cost. So they will introduce the earnings first, then they will tell you the costs. And, you know, so it was very much well packaged. And I got out of one that crashed one time, opened, found that it was a betting website. And then shortly after, another one was introduced. And as you have said, it's just the same thing being packaged differently. But now maybe, please do get us into the minds of pyramid schemes and what they are. Because I wish I had this information. I wish I knew what I was getting myself into. It all seems so rosy. And some of them now will say, you know, this one, you're not just inviting people. There's other ways of earning. There's some products. But then now the products have also not been verified. And it's a whole cycle. But then they're introducing you with the earnings first before they get down to the nitty-gritties of what it's about. So maybe get us to the minds of pyramid schemes, what they're about, and why is it so easy for people to fall?
Okay. Let me first of all begin by saying pole.
Yeah, it is well. Nilipoa. Nilipata akili.
Yeah. You know, at times we say those cars are badges.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now you
badges.
have a badge.
Yeah.
I can
Budget
relate.
investment.
You know?
You can relate to
Yeah.
this conversation.
Yeah.
So just as you mentioned, what they did was, first of all, they inverted that ladder and they showcased earnings, which you went into. Then later on you hear, costs. Then later on they would have told you that, by the way, for you to access, you are locked in here for some period or something like that, or you bring in someone who would take your space.
Yeah.
You know? Then now you can exit.
Yeah.
So with pyramid schemes, most people, there are people who live there, of course, smiling, and there are also others who live there crying. And those
True.
who cry are actually the majority.
Yeah.
Because the ones who come in very, very early, because of the timing aspect
Yeah.
of it,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
to also get hooked, because you must have tasted the first for you to bring in the second,
Yeah.
which is normally higher. So you go in there, maybe you put in 5,000, then you're going in, once you get maybe the 5,000 doubled in 2 weeks,
Yes.
then you go like, hey guys, now you behave like those leopards. You come and call everyone.
Yeah.
Call everyone.
Yes.
Hey, I found some spoil here. Hey,
Yeah.
come all.
Yeah.
Then now, out of you now being hooked by that one first instance, the time you come in for the second sweep, now you sync together with everybody else that you brought in.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So there was the bait, and the bait normally happens. Even a fisherman, when you're going to fish, you're always ready that the first one I put is eaten.
Exactly.
You see, so that now the second one is now where now I'll be able to catch the fish. You see?
Yeah.
So when you go in there, and they all have that pattern. Yeah, the pattern of, first of all, it's the bait. You taste, you feel, oh, okay, this is good. Come call in someone else, or you yourself go now and get more money, which you then push into that space. Then before you know it, the whole thing is crumbling. Because what do? They use your money coming in today to pay the person who came in yesterday. You see? When they cannot keep up with that pace of the inflows and the outflows, because number one, where else are they investing? Because how do you double, like now the case we had in listening to in Eldoret, how do you double or give 18%? Man, that means by the time you're doing 3 months, your money is almost doubling. So where do you think these guys are getting the monies to pay you who is doubling yours? They are depending on the new entrants. Then that pipeline dries off. They start struggling to honor the promise they had given you. And because you came in fast with X, you brought in 2X, now 3X, because you keep on multiplying because of the greed. So they keep on doing what? Hooking you, and you're bringing more. So the more you also want to earn, the bigger the demand on their side, the more they want the base to be wider, and they get people. Then that base dries off. And then they cannot be able to sustain this. And remember, they were also in it not just to be busy, but they are busy in business. So they know this is the time where we switch lights off.
Oh my. And one day
stop, and then it just gone with everyone else. Oh, we raise, we cry here, people cry here and there and the like. Now that's the time now you remember there's a regulator.
And then you ask, exactly, the government. Why are these people operating? Where is the government?
It's the space model.
Yes.
It's the space model. Check what? Check regulation. Check licensing. You see? Then once all that is checked, check the product as well. Is it licensed? Is it regulated? Then from there now, you have a fallback. Because if you tick the box there, you have a fallback. If anything happens to that entity, now you can go and knock that regulator's
At least like now, a case study where when the bank, you remember the bank that closed shop?
Exactly.
You know, at least, well, they may not have received everything back. But at least it is not lost. Exactly. It's delayed. So that now, the aspect of safety and regulation.
And they put some fake regulations, like, because I remember trying to Google, is it legit? And then you would find that they have screenshots of
even websites.
Or even offices.
They tell you we have an office. There's a number.
But then when
one day you call that number, it's like it's no longer in service.
When they want to close shop, even the office. Last week you came, it was a proper office and everything. The following week you are coming, it's a hardware. It's not a laughing matter though.
It's sad.
But
we are laughing at people's pain.
Oh my.
The aspect of, so because Kenyans, we are gullible,
agreed.
Because there was a case, also I saw a lady who was arraigned in court the other day, and apparently she ran away with millions of people. What she was doing, she was collecting money from fellow women and promised them that we'll give you with a return. But of course you have to bring in others.
Same model, you see?
Packaged differently.
True.
Exactly.
But how do I give someone my millions?
Exactly.
And they are not a bank.
One of the ways of checking some of these things, because number one is that all banks are regulated, which is a good thing. And most of these people will be telling you pay into a bank. Check even the name of that bank account. Because every bank account has a name. You see? And there's a difference between paying money into the company and paying money into the product. Even that is different. You see? Because when you're looking at where you're paying the money into, Also check, by the way, that you're not paying money into somebody's current or savings account. Yes, investments will require that you're depositing money into a custody account. You see, so that means all custodians are banks, but not all banks are custodians.
Okay.
You see, the same way we would say it in kindergarten. All gazelles are animals. But not all animals are gazelles. So check, because for a bank to offer custody services, it must also be licensed by Capital Markets Authority. You see, but for a bank account, all they need is Central Bank of Kenya. You can open an account. You can open an account, George. George and George. You know, all George and others. So ask yourself, this account that I'm paying into, what is the name of this account? You see, if it is a custody account, then you will actually see that, by the way, this one, even the name of the account is the product. And the bank offering custody services cannot open a bank account and give it a name or of a product that is not licensed, which helps you also tick the box on the P that we talked about. So there's the S and then the P. Those two boxes are your starting point at any given time.
Wow. Let's talk about, because you're into retirement solutions, let's talk about pitfalls for those who are either retired or they are retiring. I feel, and because of the rush and sort of the urgency, some of the pitfalls that they are susceptible to. So here we will discuss this with the buyers on those who are retiring but who are coming from a retirement plan. Because the pitfalls for those who never planned is different. Because failing to
planning to fail.
Yes.
So those ones, they have their own.
They have their own corner.
Which you can look at, Some of them had their children as retirement plans. Things didn't pan out well and all that. Let's talk about these guys who are in a pension arrangement. They have saved for pension, or they were in a gratuity arrangement. They are now being paid their money. Or they are about to be paid their money. What are their pitfalls? Now, pitfall number one is something we call longevity risk. Longevity risk is the risk that you will outlive what you had saved. Because people always feel like by the time you're being told you're retiring, you think like life is ending. God has a way of keeping you around.
Amen. Longer than exceedingly abundantly.
You think, now my life is over. No.
Those guys who retire and the next thing you're looking for is a lorry, a truck to take you back. My friend, you will be going there to now. You know the way we say, Afro Cinema continue shortly. Your life has just started.
Wow.
Woe unto you if you had not saved. Is it? So, what we call it check engine. Check engine, if you do an engine dipstick, what we normally say is, look at how much you've saved, take 1% of it. That is the 1% rule. 1% of how much you've saved, and ask yourself if you can live on that month. If you saved $1 million, 1% will be 10,000. So then that would be ideally where your monthly inflows should actually fall, somewhere close to that.
10,000.
If you were a lady and you went for example, an annuity, and you had 1 million, you would get maybe around slightly lower, 9,000 there. Why? Because ladies even live longer.
Oh my!
Ladies live longer than
so the
men.
Companies have that in mind.
You know. Because you use those mortality tables to be able to calculate, estimate. So because men will check out earlier, so you give them. You give them a higher, so that they start higher, because you know very well they'll not enjoy it for longer. And it's true. Check
the reality.
The village. We have more homesteads with widows than widows. So to some extent, I think it is true. The cause of
have you unraveled that mystery? While at that.
Well, yeah, we look at them differently.
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah.
I also have a psychology background. So that also tells us that maybe the way we manage our stress as men, our stress coping mechanisms are different. Ladies are able to talk, release. Ladies are more social and the like. Men are more withdrawn. Those are some of the reasons we want to use to try and explain. This early exit.
This early exit.
Yeah, man.
So let's go back to the return. So this guy now has money, is it?
Yeah.
Now there are two payout modes. One is where the arrangement wants to give you a lump sum and then files close. Then you go manage your lump sum. Yeah. Two is where this arrangement promises you periodic payment, which you call pension. Yeah. Though that pension, when outsourced from, let's say, an insurance company, then it will be annuity. It's outsourced from a standalone scheme, then it will be called an income drawdown. You see, all those are options that are there. Now, we have come to the conclusion that the person who goes for the periodic payment ends up having better financial security and financial well-being with time as they roll into retirement. The one who goes for the lump sum, normally they are the most gullible. Because that is the time they are given all investment ideas.
Yeah.
Even
I can only imagine.
Sells you
my
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You can multiply your money.
Yeah.
So those who also maybe are not sharing with anyone and the like, they feel they're managers. You see. And what you ask them is, you are in a scheme where you are contributing around 10 or 5%. This check you're looking at today, which appears like it's the only thing you have between you and your next blessing.
Yeah.
Yes.
True. Yes.
Is an accumulation of your 5% earnings over the years. What did you do with the 95%?
Well,
Many people can't answer that question because you find some of them, even this 5% is the one that is meant to go back and clear school fees, meant to go back and clear mortgage, meant to go back and do things that they could have ticked first of all with their pay slips. But the money now is at risk, either because of things you didn't do. This money is under threat. Things you had not done, you want to do. Others because it has been that tough. So when you get that lump sum, first of all, and you see the zeros on the right, you just go like, wow. Is it the time I need to go and pigia mwili pole? Say sorry to myself. Or pigia mwili asante, depending on how the experience has been. And that one is never
what will I do with this money?
And that is not done at high altitudes. You go where next to the sea level, so where the sandy beaches, and all
and
that.
the temperatures are conducive to the body.
So that is a risk, and our research has shown us that most of those lump sums do not see the third anniversary. By the time someone is doing year 3, they've actually cleared everything because they got into wrong investment ideas. And at that age, you don't need to expose yourself to risk.
No,
true.
You should actually be at very risk averse at that particular age. So these guys go into that. Some of them are investing in some things that are obviously highways to downfalls. You go into businesses you do not understand. All that. And before you even retire, 15 years too, if you're really planning to be a farmer, you'll not wake up on the retirement day and become a super farmer.
That's true.
You should have started farming some 15 years ago.
Before.
To understand seasons, to understand seeds, to understand behaviors, weeds. Know this is what happens here and the like, and know markets and the like. Because all these are sophisticated kind of platforms that at times you do not know how to do that.
Wow. And George, I'm also thinking of the people who have fallen in the past, like I did. We have scars. We've been on a journey. And maybe someone is watching us this morning and they've already messed up. They did invest and the returns were definitely bad and chaotic because they didn't take proper time, before deciding on something. So maybe what piece of advice can you give people who are trying to get back up? They still want to keep investing, but now this time they need to move with more wisdom. So what would be your 2 coins on that?
Okay, for that, I would first of all tell them to embrace the space model.
Okay.
Because that will guide them. They now know that the money they now have, which is a second chance they are getting, they should not expose it to similar risks. So use the space model and let it work to your advantage. Ask yourself those questions. And don't ask somebody directly, are you registered? No, go to the
They will lie.
registration, the licensing authority, and ask those people, do you know these guys? Are they registered? Check the product as well and all that. And currently, right now, where everybody else is going, we know that banking is the least, and I'm sorry to any banker who is watching, banking is the least that one can do. Because even the guy who had one talent in Matthew 25, was actually rebuked and given some lessons, and that is the least they were told. That at least you could have taken it to the money exchangers or the bankers. I would have earned some interest. And you know, many banks don't give interest unless you are forfeiting the access. If you have earnings in the bank, then just know that you've given away the access. And that's what we call fixed deposits. Because you're telling them, I'll not touch that money for 3 months, or 6 months, or 1 year. You're fixing. So that fixing is that I am denying myself what? Access. Today, one of the products that actually ticks the box across all those SPACE is money market. Called money market funds. And money market funds are offered by licensed entities. The product itself is also licensed and regulated. So I'll tell someone who is now thinking about going back and going to a safe space, then now look for a money market fund. And because now you've allowed me to be here today, I can position Kuza. So Kuza Asset Management has a money market fund, and we have a Kenya shilling one, and we also have a dollar one. You see? So all these are licensed and regulated by Capital Markets Authority. They tick the box on S, they tick the box on P. They also tick the box on A, because access there is within 48 hours. You see? One makes a withdrawal request, they get the money back within 48 hours. Then the C there, the rates you hear as, like now we are at around 17.2% per annum. That rate is your return. That return already comes to you net of fees, meaning that there is no other cost unless you now, because you've earned, now you can pay tax. So tax is the only thing that when you turn around, the government tells you, hey, thank you for working hard. But you will still collect, 50%. Exactly. But we'll still collect that on behalf, because we are also a collecting agent. So we do that on behalf of the government. So we'll then give you the net into your, and then it gives you the compounding aspect, because you are able to do what? Have whatever you deposited this month of September, end of September, what that has earned is also pushed in there. So when you start October, now you're starting with both your capital and the income. So you compound on a monthly basis. That's one way of allowing your money to start working for you, because I think that's the desire for everybody. Get to a point whereby it will always be between me and my money, who is going out today. Then now you know you are rolling the wealth platform. Exactly.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Lots and lots of wisdom, but time is, of course, far more spent. Notice we didn't even take a break.
I know.
The topic was so hot, you know.
So hot,
So just to allow us so that we close on time, what would you advise someone who is out there and they're thinking of venturing into any, not specific, but any investment?
Any investment.
Okay.
I would take them to the wiser model. I would tell them, you are there thinking that way because, number one, you have a relationship. It may be with your employer, it may be with your client, if you're a business person. Protect that relationship. Number one. Then number two, from that relationship, understand and appreciate your patterns of earning. That way then you will know how far you can stretch and what you can do and what you cannot do. You will not fall into peer pressure or trying to match yourself against other people. There are people who get things out here with dubious means. You do not know. But you now who is earning honestly and genuinely, understand that. And now invest in yourself first on how you can increase that capacity. Because if you are employed and the same papers and CVs you used in your interview 5 years ago are the ones you still have in your file. You're doing badly, brother. You see? So that's the earnings. Then now you go to the savings. And at the savings, you see we've not even reached investment. We are still there. Under savings, number one thing is make sure you've saved at least what we call the emergency fund. Emergency fund is monies that can at least take you for 6 months of your current earnings. If the inflows stop, you can still sustain life for the next 6 months. That's your emergency fund. If you put it in a bank, you'll be putting money in a place that is idling because there's no growth. The best space there is the money market fund. Save up to that. Once you get to that threshold, then now anything over and above that, now you can start thinking investments. And when you think investments, please go back to my 3 stones. Horizon, risk, and objective. Horizon, risk, and objective. If you want to avoid risk, for now, rates in money market are still sweet. Stay there. Enjoy. Until things change. Maybe next year when rates start going down, because there are those indications, then now you can shift to a different space. But tick the box on all those. So that would be advice.
I'm thinking of our list, or rather our viewer, who maybe doesn't have an income. I want to say hand to mouth. George, how do you help this person?
This person. Okay. So this person is in a space where they do not have an income. Definitely, there is a source that is keeping them alive. Yes. That takes you back to relationship. Because when you look at where your earnings are coming from, value that relationship. So I would be telling that person that, by the way, do what? Now invest in that relationship so that that relationship keeps this earning flowing. When this earning flows to a certain extent, and you're also working on trying to check, can that earning also come from me? What is it about me that can help me put my hands into something that I can be able to do? Because sorry to say it, but the beggar mentality or the mentality of handouts never takes anyone anywhere. And that is what someone like Peter and John, who were at the temple called Beautiful, had to do away with. This guy shouldn't wake up and come back here today. Does he need? Rise up and walk. Because when you're now walking, you can walk to your next opportunity, you can walk to your next job, you can walk to your next, So build that capacity when you're in that space and ask yourself, what can I do? Because today, if I got maybe even 1,000 shillings and I was not so cognizant of what would people say about me and the like and all that, I can walk to maybe Gikomba down there, if you're in Nairobi, visit. Buy the set of maybe handkerchiefs, then come and start selling each. You'll find that from that one packet, something else will come in. So this is someone who will start discovering that, by the way, I have a potential. There's something I can do. And everything that God has given us, by the way, can earn you money. Not in this way of things that are also not ticking the box on the Bible, but in the way of how can you put it into work to be able to get you there. Some earn money by talking. Others earn money by doing with your hands. Others earn money by using your mind. So look at what can you do. If it is not manual, then it has to be cognitive. And see what can you unlock there. And at times when you look for people you can sit with, people who can encourage you, good mentors and the like, someone can help you see something in yourself that you did not know you have. People write, people do even maybe just what do you call them, like checking scripts, and you earn because you can do something.
That's true. I mean, I can take this opportunity to congratulate my young sister because she's in school and she has actually been doing CVs for people. I don't even know how she found it out, but it's actually earning her something, because if she can do one CV for like 1,500 shillings, imagine if she commits a weekend and does several, and that's just something simple. Get your bundles.
To make a joke. And like the elder sister was gullible.
Well, you see, naweza jitetea. You know, I can tetea myself by saying I allowed her to learn from my mistakes.
Exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. I tell her I can't go through it and then watch you go through it. So
and
it
she was
paid.
such a quick planner. Yeah.
Actually, we say the wise people learn from their own mistakes. But the wiser ones learn from the mistakes of those who are around them.
Wow.
That's powerful.
You're able to say, hey, if
she went through this.
I was just a servant of God, to cause her to be wiser. But but what you said is so profound because I believe that we have the potential and God is the one who has given us the ability to make wealth. Meaning just because we are Christians doesn't mean we have to stay poor. If anything, we have to invest those godly principles and believe that the wealth is for us. It's not just for the people who are the heathen. It's for all of us and God has given us that ability. So thank you, George, for coming through and I think we'll see you on the side on other things that you do with Kuza. We need to catch a cup of tea because I still have questions.
And after this, the conversation continues.
Lazima iendelee. Ni vile tu time hakuda for here. But thank you, George, for coming through. This has been very insightful. I've gotten to learn a lot. And I believe from here, we are not just sleeping. We have to rise up and wake up and ask ourselves, what can I do? Because it's out there. If only we look, if only we research, if only we are diligent, and in fact, using that space model, which is very important, I believe that we can get to our goals and also have patience even as we pursue the same. So I've gotten to learn a lot.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for finding time.
Yes.
And we really appreciate. So regards to your wife, your family, and also the Sitam family back at your local assembly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Asante. We need to call it a day. Thank you so very much for tuning into the show. Thank you for being with us from the time that we began. May God bless you and have a fruitful and a blessed day ahead. My name is George Kishoro.
Yes, and my name is Beatrice Nudi. I hope you guys have learned a thing or two. We have been live on YouTube, so that means you can share this link with a friend, a sister, or a brother, or a parent, anyone you feel may benefit from this information so that we can all avoid pitfalls in investment. And for those who are conning people, God is seeing you. We'll have an episode just for you so that you explain to us why. But anyway, to another show on Tuesday on One Day at a Time. Have a good day.